I've always been obsessed with having the perfect script and writing and having everything perfect before I record. Maybe it's this fear of putting out a product that I don't find polished and perfect. It's important to take pride in your work and to release quality. But I think for some people, which actually let me balance this. I think for many of us, sometimes doing the thing is more important than optimizing the thing. I haven't released a video, or at least a video related to books on my channel for about 6 months. And since then, I was preparing for a couple of weddings I had to shoot in October and November. But one of the things I've always struggled with is perfection. Last year I made a video. At the beginning of the year I released it, and I was working on it before the year started, before 2023 started. And I released a video talking about my plan to not shop for a year, my year of less, based off of the book Year of Less. And I was planning to release videos and talk about my experience, all of that. So here I guess is a little update on kind of how that went exactly. In the first 3 months I didn't buy anything that was unnecessary. At least not for myself. Each month, me and my wife try to set aside money. We try to budget, although we're not the best about that. But we try to budget some money for spending money. And so I would still take my spending money, but instead of buying something for myself, I would be looking for stuff for my wife. But as the months went on, I think it was in April, I talked about the fact that I was going to Vietnam in the summer. I went to Vietnam with my wife to visit her family. Preparing for an international trip, there are sometimes some things that you need to buy to prepare for the trip. And, I started to get some stuff that I actually needed. Those are necessities. Slowly, things started slipping. I was buying more stuff. I was like, yeah, well, I need this for Vietnam, or it'd be nice to have this, which is again not a necessity. And after that, after I started buying stuff for the trip, it kind of fell by the wayside. Funny enough, it kind of became a year of more. Maybe it was like a kind of a flip, almost kind of like people who stop doing something for a while and then they binge afterwards. And I started buying more stuff. And you guys probably can tell by looking at the studio, I do have more stuff. And I didn't want to shoot this video initially because I wanted to write a perfect script. I wanted to make this beautiful cinematic video as my return video. Beautiful cinematic shots, the cinematic yellow text. I wanted to do this perfect return, but I realized that a lot of the issues I have in my life, especially when it comes to things I want to do, is related to my perfectionism. I realized that I have it really, really bad, and it's manifested, and you can kind of see it in the way that I do things. And perfectionism is not, I don't know if to say it's not necessarily bad. With everything, it's a double-edged sword, right? And there's the good and the bad, the pros and the cons. Growing up, whenever I was in high school and playing basketball seriously, it led to me trying to find the perfect programs and being really meticulous about doing my drills all correctly. But it also led to me probably not shooting as much as I should have. I had a lot of skills that didn't always translate, and I think part of that was the perfectionism. And not to say I realized where I was talent-wise. I was good for my school, for a small Christian school, but I'm not a world beater, not Division I, Division II. It wasn't gonna make the NBA. I realized that. I just want to say that now out of all humility. I realized that there's a lot bigger, higher levels of basketball than I played. But I think that meticulousness and that perfectionism, the fear of failure maybe is another way to put it, led to me not, I was a pass first player, right? And with passing, I could make a lot of these flashy passes. I had pretty good court vision. But when you pass the ball, most of the time you're gonna be successful and you don't always have to hit an exact target. But the thing I was afraid of, and the thing I probably should have done more, because I felt like I was a pretty decent shooter, but I was afraid to shoot. It was my junior year, and I'd put a lot of time in the summer working out, and getting faster, jumping higher, working on my ball handling, working on my shooting. That's when I first bought a program that I was like trying to follow all the drills. And I remember the first scrimmage game that we played, it wasn't an actual game. I think I went 0 for 10 from the field, which is absolutely atrocious. I had a really bad game. I played good otherwise overall. The good thing is that I could contribute in other ways. I considered myself a good passer, and I could handle the ball and bring it down the court, and I was a good defender. And as the year went on, it got worse and worse. I've never been much of a scorer. I think confidence was a big issue with the shooting, and belief in myself, and being willing to take those risks to take the shots. I didn't play really well that year, and I eventually lost my starting position, and that really did hit me. But looking back now with some hindsight, 10 years after the fact, 10 plus years after the fact, which is crazy to think, I think a lot of it had to do with my perfectionism, the fear of failure for sure. I'm trying to lose weight right now, and one of the big things that's holding me up is this perfectionism too. When I log my calories, I'm logging my calories now. If I say if I eat something really bad, I'm like, screw it, man, I'll just start logging again tomorrow. Because my day has not gone perfect, I then kind of just quit for the day, and I'm like, let me just do it tomorrow because of the perfectionism. Then it kind of spirals and makes the day a lot worse, and I'm like, okay, I'll just be better tomorrow, right? I'll be better tomorrow. It's a wash. The day is done, and I can't redeem it anymore. It's not perfect anymore. When it comes to my videos, wedding videos, and the videos that I produce for church and stuff like that, you know, I'm meticulous about it. I spent 12 hours editing a video for church, which I think turned out really well. And that was a good thing, right? I'm very meticulous, and I have a perfectionism that leads to me being willing to edit for long. I stood at that desk for 12 hours and I edited the whole day, and I was happy, and I did not have a care in the world. I was enjoying the process and everything, which was good. But then also led to me procrastinating on editing the weddings, which I probably took a little bit longer on the second one, which still I felt like turned out okay. But I probably spent way too much time editing that one and procrastinating on it because I was like, man, it was a tough lighting situation overall, and I had some trouble. Narratively, I was having some trouble trying to formulate my narrative that I wanted for the video. There are a lot of times where this perfectionism gets in the way, and the bad being that I'm not producing enough videos. If I want to grow this channel and I want to make a successful YouTube channel, and I want to talk about the books, which I love talking about the books, I really do miss it, which I did have the time, but the thing is I didn't want to do them unless I could do them perfectly and I could just sit down in these long blocks. There's this great book that I also read over the past year called Some Days Today by Matthew Dix. He talks about a conversation he had in a McDonald's with a aspiring writer, I believe, and she was telling him, how do you write so much? You know, like I don't have, it's difficult for me to have these long 1.5 to 2 hour blocks to write. He told the girl, and he's like, you know, whenever I was waiting for you, she was running a little bit late. Whenever I was waiting for you in this McDonald's, I found 6-7 minutes and I was just writing, you know. And sometimes for most of us, our lives are gonna have interruptions. I will still work a full-time job. I have responsibilities. I still live a full life outside of the YouTube videos. And if I want to this channel to grow and succeed, I realize that I'm gonna have to use those tiny little spaces in between and be okay with not having deep work sessions of 1.5 to 90 minutes. I realized that the reason that I read so many books and I read so many and listen to so many audiobooks is because I realize I struggle with a lot of different things, but I realize that this hurdle of perfectionism is something that I greatly need to overcome, and it's something I'm working on, right? I want to be able to shoot out more videos. I need to crank that volume knob way up because I need to release more videos if I want to grow. I need to be okay with releasing imperfect videos. I don't need to have millions of hours of B-roll or B-roll every 3 seconds. There was another quote, which let me look at my phone because I saved it. People are optimizing the things they're not doing. I love Ali Abdaal and love watching his productivity videos, but I realize that a lot of times I have a tendency to optimize things, which I haven't done, and I won't start it until it's been perfectly optimized. And in the case, I need to be more run and gun. I'm gonna be shooting out this video soon. What is today? Today is January 29, Monday, January 29. Let's get this out by Wednesday, right? But the fact that I'm actually shooting my A-roll and talking head and I haven't written out a script, I think this is something that I need to do, at least for the next videos. Talked about sharing the weeds, and that's one of my favorite videos, kind of like this, where it's just completely off the cuff. This is an exercise in perfectionism or getting rid of the perfectionism for me. Hopefully it wasn't too rambly. I realized that I probably was talking for 10-15 minutes, so this is gonna be a headache to edit. I'll see you guys. I guess I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Just gonna start editing this and trying to cut out all the fat. But here's to not being perfect.